Guys, there is a shocking update to this story. The police has discovered that 5 million Kenyan shillings was transferred to the late Edwin Chiloba's account on New Year's Eve, moments before he was killed by his supposed boyfriend, Jackson Odhiambo. And the investigation is turning out to be that his death may have had something to do with this money. For those who don't remember the story, earlier this year on the 4th of January 2023, a black box was found on the streets of a town in Kenya, where it turned out that the box contained the deceased and decomposing body of a popular fashion designer and gay rights activist named Edwin Chiloba. Investigations soon led the police to the supposed best friend and partner of Edwin, who was also his roommate by the name of Jackson Odhiambo. Remember all the things that played out in this process of trying to find out what happened to Edwin and trying to find out who was behind his death. How the caretaker of their apartment was the one who spoke, along with the neighbors who gave details to the press and to the police, which eventually led to the arrest of Edwin's roommate and partner, Jackson Odhiambo. And when Jackson was arrested and taken into custody, it was said he confessed to killing Edwin, but claimed he did it out of passion. He did it out of anger that he discovered that Edwin Chiloba had cheated on him, in which we all interpreted it to be a crime of passion. Except this new discovery of a 5 million Kenyan shillings being transferred into his account is changing the possibility that this was a crime of passion. In fact, this may have been premeditated murder, and there is a chance that he had planned his death long before the very instant he was killed. Now, put this in mind. A lot of people are wondering, what difference does it make? Whether he killed him out of passion or whether he premeditated it. He has confessed and he has been caught and he has been arrested. The reason why Jackson Odhiambo is claiming crime of passion is because the punishment attached to it is not as strong as when a crime is premeditated. So it's up to the investigation and the courts to prove that, okay, this boy did plan before that day or before time to kill Edwin Chiloba. And they need a reason and a motive or something he stands to gain if this young man is killed. And these 5 million Kenyan shillings in his account that was transferred on New Year's Eve, a day before he was missing, seems to be the evidence that can prove in the court of law that Edwin Chiloba's death was premeditated and not some instant crime of passion, drawing from the fact that he found out that he cheated. So we are going to talk about the details of this new information right now so that we can get a picture, because I'm about to prove to you guys that this guy had ulterior motive to killing Edwin. In fact, I think I even said it. I knew that his claim that he killed him out of passion did not make sense to me. I just knew that something else was involved. Even when his caretaker said something as regarding going to check their apartment for the next tenant, I just assumed that there could have been more to the death of Edwin Chiloba than just the crime of passion. So before we continue, please don't forget to like this video, share, and subscribe if you haven't subscribed. You can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. So before we get into the 5 million Kenyan shillings, which is almost $40,000, I suspect, let's talk about the coroner report of Edwin Chiloba. You know, his body was found stuffed in the box. We wanted to know what killed him and what caused his death. Was he poisoned? Was he strangled? Was he choked? Was he beaten to death? And now we have answers. So the autopsy reveals that Edwin died of asphyxiation, suffocation, lack of oxygen into his brain and into his blood. And I think this can happen many ways, through suffocation or through strangulation. I'm not sure. But it turned out that he wasn't strangled, because when you think of crime of passion, you think of instant strangulation or instant gunshot or something instant. The process in which Edwin was killed was a very long and deliberate process that would take one who really wanted him to go to do it. And what is even more shocking is the fact that 2 socks were found shoved down his throat in his mouth. That is to say, Jackson Odhiambo shoved 2 stockings into the mouth of his victim, and it is believed that he may have wrapped Edwin's face in a cloth or something to cause the asphyxiation that eventually killed him. So this was a long process of trying to take the life of this young man. Another thing again that was discovered is the fact that Edwin did not have any physical injury on his body. which may suggest that this guy did not fight back. I mean, there are people who fight for their life at least a little and they will sustain a little injury, a scratch or something. It was said Edwin's body was clean. And the only way this could have happened, because let's put this into perspective. These are two men. Yes, Edwin is effeminate or does not appear to be physically strong, but that is just for the eyes. He's still a man anyway, and when it comes to the thing of life, he could have at least put up a fight. But the only reason or the only way Jackson could have successfully suffocated Edwin to the point where Edwin could not fight back, shoving 2 socks down his throat, is if Edwin was incapable of fighting back. Remember, they had partied on New Year's Eve. Is it possible that Jackson got this young man drunk to a point where he knew that he would not be able to fight back? Is it possible that throughout their time at the New Year's Eve party, Jackson was just watching Edwin, making sure that he drank enough till he was high and unable to fight back? That is the only way I see it. The coroner report itself shows that this boy's death was not something of an instant, not something of anger, not something quick. It was very slow, very thoughtful. Now let's talk about the money, where the big issue is. So the police in their investigation learned that 5 million Kenyan shillings was transferred into the late Edwin Chiloba's account on New Year's Eve. And that was when Edwin took his friends out to celebrate. But it's not clear if they knew they were celebrating the money. And they were able to trace the money from a foreign account. A foreigner, a male friend from another country had sent Edwin the money. And it's not clear what it was for. But that is where a lot of people are claiming that Jackson found out and assumed that Edwin was cheating on him with that man, or killed Edwin out of the fact that Edwin was planning on traveling to go and meet whoever sent him the money and called it cheating. So if that is the reason why Jackson is claiming he was cheated on, then that is not cheating if that is the case. What is not sure or what is not certain is if this money was eventually transferred into Jackson's account, but as at the time of hearing or gathering this information, it was only known that this money was found in Edwin's account. But here is the thing. This is where I want to connect the dots now, because I knew for a fact that Jackson had so much to lose. Edwin had plans for the new year. People had said that he had talked about improving his brand and improving himself.
Okay, I have a lot. I have a big dream to see my works being showcased maybe in New York, and also to be that big fashion icon. You know, I have a lot of things that I really want to achieve to build my brand and also to inspire people to be just...
Now, Jackson, on the other hand, like I said, has a baby mama or a girlfriend or a wife and a child. He is the one with double responsibilities. He's the one who needs money, and yet he's squatting in Edwin's house. Jackson doesn't stay with his baby mama. He doesn't have an apartment. He is living off the back of Edwin. Edwin is his boss. Edwin is his source of income. Edwin is his source of shelter. Clearly, Edwin took him in because their friendship only had not been up to a year. So this is kind of like a brand new friendship or relationship. And it's still not very sure, and a lot of people have questioned Jackson's sexuality. If you remember correctly, people called him the friend of Edwin or roommates and not necessarily his partner. So this is what I think, because when the caretaker was met by the police, he said the only way or the way he found out about the smell that came out of their apartment and how he saw Jackson moving the black box was when he was going to inspect their own apartment for a new tenant. What that means is the rent that Edwin Chiloba was to pay for that apartment was obviously done and he was going to move out. It is very possible that Edwin did not plan on retaining that apartment and he planned on maybe leaving the country to go to a better place that is more suited for his lifestyle, more accepting of his lifestyle. And that is very possible too. Don't forget he has 2 white parents who are willing to sponsor him into leaving the country to a place where he's more accepted. So what does this plan mean for Jackson? This means that Jackson would not have anywhere to stay. And this also means that Jackson would have to go back to whatever life he was living before he met Edwin. And maybe Jackson wanted part of the money. Maybe Jackson wanted some of the money. And Edwin was like, nah, guy, you have a wife, you have a child, that is your problem, go fix it, I want to fix my life. And this could have been the moment Jackson knew that the only way out is to get the money one way or another. And frankly, this is motive enough for him to want to kill Edwin. Even when he was in court, it was said that he pleaded with the judge to release him on bail so that he can go and take care of his family, that he had responsibilities to take care of. This was what Jackson said with his own mouth. So Jackson knew all along that his major responsibility was his wife and child. And he knew that his source of income was Edwin Chiloba. And when he saw that Edwin was no longer going to be the money ATM or the human ATM machine that he wanted him to be, he decided to take his life. Notwithstanding the fact that Jackson had help in getting rid of Edwin's body. The driver that he hired to drive the vehicle that went to drop the box was paid nearly 20,000 Kenyan shillings. And the other 3 or 4 people that accompanied him in this whole plot also got paid. So this guy has money to be paying these people to hide a dead body because he knew that the death of Edwin Chiloba was very profitable to him. He could have easily done this himself, get a taxi, take the body, drop it somewhere, put it in a box, throw it in the river. But he got people involved. And for you to get people involved into that kind of crime, you should have enough money. And maybe he did, or maybe he had so much hope, or he knew the passwords to Edwin's bank account or Edwin's ATM, and probably that is where he was getting the money from. Since they were closed, he must have trusted him enough to share him the ATM passwords or transfer method, because this is a corny ploy thing for someone who had an ulterior motive like Jackson. So that is it, guys. The police are still investigating. They believe this money is going to change the entire case, and this might get Jackson first-degree murder case instead of the whole crime of passion claim he was trying to pass out. Although some people still believe that it still might have been a crime of passion, that he may have been jealous that Edwin was going to leave him for another man in another country. But at the same time, some people don't believe it. And I'm one of those people who don't believe this is a crime of passion. I have a feeling that on that New Year's Eve, Jackson made sure that Edwin was drunk enough to a point where he knew he would not fight back, then took him home and decided to end his life just so he can get access or unrestricted access to the money in his bank accounts. And that is not a crime of passion. That is premeditated murder. And hopefully this is proven in court, because this monster needs the maximum sentence. So you guys let me know what you think. Do you think this is still a crime of passion? Or do you think with this new information, there's a chance that Jackson planned the death of this young man long before he did it? Let me know your thoughts. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. You can also turn on the notification button should there be any future updates. You'll be the first to get notified. Thank you.